Alright, hello class. Welcome to Math 111, also known as College Algebra and Trig, or Business and Technology, also known as Pre-Calculus. So this is the view that you'll typically get on the lectures for this particular class. Here I am. Here's what you'll typically see of me. It's this as I write. You'll hear me talk. I did set up this introduction at first with, showing my face and stuff, but it's in the middle of summer right now as I'm recording this, and then kind of a hot mess. So I decided to spare you and just give you the typical lecture view that you'll be seeing for the majority of the semester. I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about what Math 111 is like. Again, I'm not going to go into tons of detail here. The syllabus kind of details everything very explicitly. I will be sending you all emails pretty much each week, detailing what will be going on each week to help you all keep track of what's going on. And the reason for that is this is a pretty fast-paced class. So what Math 111 is it takes all the material from Math 102, or I'm sorry, not 102, but specifically Math 101 and 102, and joins them together into a single class, and a 4-hour class at that. So what you're basically doing is you're taking 6 hours of material and compressing it down into 4 hours. On top of that, for y'all, the online section means that a lot of this pace is going to be self-directed, right? You all will be sort of in charge of when you watch lectures, when you do your homeworks, when you do your quizzes, when you study, stuff like that. But what I'm trying to do with these, though, I don't want this to be an online class where the professor is kind of disconnected from it, right? Or uses videos and lectures from somewhere else. So what this class is basically like is I have recorded a video for every lesson that this class will cover. And then after that, there is a homework associated with each lesson as well. Now, I'll describe in a little bit why this is, but those homeworks, which are done on My Labs Plus, and I detail that in the email I probably have already sent you. If not, you will get very soon, and in the syllabus. But the homeworks can be kind of extensive, they can be kind of lengthy, but part of the reason for that is that's the only thing you all really have as far as practice and studying and preparing goes. So this is to make sure you get enough of that practice in to do well. And then the quizzes, which are done through Blackboard, kind of are a comprehensive, they kind of cover, they're quicker assignments, smaller assignments that cover what has gone on in the week or a couple of weeks, depending on what module we're on. Okay, so there's that. There's this basic introduction to the course, which I don't want to get too bogged down in details. But what I actually want to kind of talk to you all about is math anxiety. You may see that from the title of this video. Math anxiety and how to manage it. I get comments all the time from students. Every class I've ever taught, students saying that they suffer from math anxiety, or they suffer from test anxiety, or performance anxiety, or some anxiety of some form. And so what I thought I would do for this first lesson, lesson 0, you can think of it as, is to kind of talk about that. sort of discuss what math anxiety is, and more importantly, how to deal with it, how to manage it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get on to that, and that will be what this lesson entails. And I thought it'd be nice to give you all something that wasn't math to begin with, and some module to work on that was more on hopefully improving your performance. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, lesson 0, math anxiety and how to manage it. I want to start by asking you some questions and just think a little bit about these answers. Think a little bit about how true this is for you. Okay? I'm uneasy about going to the board in a math class. I'm afraid to ask questions in math class. I'm always worried about being called out in math class. I tend to zone out in math class. I fear math tests more than any other kind. I'm afraid I won't be able to keep up with the rest of the class. Any of those sounded kind of familiar, or you heard that question and you thought the answer was a very yes? It's possible you suffer from a bit of math anxiety, if not up to a lot of math anxiety. But here's one thing to really know about that. If you have math anxiety, if you have sort of this hatred for math that has kind of kept you from doing well in the past, and it's kind of hindered your, or you feel like it's hindered your ability to, say, take tests or whatnot. The first thing I want you all to think, if that's you, is that it's not a moral failing to have this issue. Most people deal with some kind of anxiety. And to give you an example, and these examples you'll find are pretty common as I go throughout. I'm a musician as a hobby, and though I have played in front of people multiple times, many times, every time I do, I still get a little anxious. On the first day of classes, for example, right before I walk in on the first day, even though I've taught many classes, I've been teaching for about, I don't want to date this video, but I'll just say I've been teaching over 10 years at the college level, and even then, on the first day, when I walk in, I still have a bit of nervousness. I have a little bit of anxiety going in. It doesn't compare to the first time I ever walked into a class ever, okay? But it's still there, all right? Now, the thing you need to know, okay, is that math anxiety is an emotional reaction to math based on an unpleasant experience that you may have had. And what's good about that, okay, is that good experiences in learning math can actually help you overcome those past experiences that were sort of placed there. Okay, here that is written out for you. Right, it's an emotional reaction based on unpleasant experiences. What I want you to do is think back to one of the earliest bad memories you have about math. If you hate math, if you love math, you can kind of zone out for this, I suppose. But just take some step backs and think about what it was. Was it a teacher that was mean? Was it they made you get up in front of everybody and do some math problems that you didn't know how to do and it was embarrassing. Okay, part of identifying where your anxiety comes from is going to be this process here. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not trained in that sort of endeavor, but what I can say is helping students manage this, in the past, is that if you can identify what it actually is, what that memory was that got you to not enjoy math, and if it was external, because teachers often impart anxieties onto students, and sometimes they do it without realizing. Right? There's a lot of social norms that students have to fight against. In some cases, there are just maybe old school teachers that kind of don't realize what it is they're actually sharing. Okay? There's a lot of baggage that can come with teaching that, and I think a lot of math teachers aren't so versed in the soft sciences to kind of have an idea of what they might be doing psychologically or emotionally. Okay, math anxiety a lot of times will manifest itself in avoidance behavior, and this can be very problematic because a lot of times students will do everything they can to avoid the feelings of anxiety instead of actually managing the feelings of anxiety. So you'll find a lot of students who find themselves very anxious about math will find themselves skipping class. That's not so much a problem with being an online class, but postponing enrollment in math classes until the last possible semester. I see this all the time. People who will put off that last math requirement until their very last semester, and it's been years since they've ever taken a math class, and then they find themselves having forgot everything that they would need to have passed it, and it's kind of this horrible cycle of anxiety on anxiety. And then this one here is also one I see a lot is, now some people of course are just lazy, and that's fine, but it's that waiting until the last minute to ever start on an assignment or to start studying. Okay, either waiting until the night before to study for an exam when they haven't studied throughout the weeks prior, not even starting on a homework until right before it's due, rushing through exams or quizzes because it's, instead of trying to manage the anxiety, they just rush through it, and that's where all the mistakes and things come from. Okay, so if these are some behaviors you found in yourself, perhaps it's time to start thinking about what you can do to manage them instead of trying to avoid them or to try to push them away. Now, I've talked a little bit about where math anxiety kind of comes from. And it's just a little bit, I guess. It can stem from previous bad experiences that kind of compound, but also I've found a lot of times it comes in believing math myths. There are a lot of myths associated with math. It's gotten a bad reputation over the years, because what ends up happening, and I know this because I went to school with some of these people, there are people who come into, say, an education program in college, and their goal is to become a math teacher, but they don't even like math. In fact, they kind of hate it, but they know if they get this degree as a math teacher, it's easier to get a job as a teacher. Because what they really want to be is a teacher. So all these anxieties and all this hatred for math that they have, they then pass on to all of their students. Okay? So that's, one place where these seeds get sown in a lot of people, but also there are so many other cultural things at work here that make people believe certain things about math that simply aren't true. And then, and this is also problematic to people's anxiety is that because of the belief in these myths, they start to rationalize their anxiety as being normal, as being okay, as being fine, because, well, these things are true, therefore I will never be good at math, for example. Okay? So here's some, not all the myths, but for example, this first one, that men are better at math than women. And this is completely false. I don't think I notice this one as much in students anymore. Actually, sent out a survey a couple of years ago and asked some students about what if they just believed certain statements, if they were true. And while students did often believe in a lot of these myths, this one was thankfully not as believed in as maybe it was in the past, but it's still, there's still this inherent sort of idea that math is this manly thing, I guess, or that only men are really good at it. And there's maybe some things I've heard that could lend to men being better at certain things in math naturally. It's not math as a whole. In fact, anecdotally speaking, my best students are in the past have typically been women. The ones who say done the best. Usually, if I have students who make the A+ grade, I would give them an A+ if I was allowed to put A+ in for the final grade. I'd say 80% of those people have been women. Okay, so this idea that men are better than women at math is completely false. It has more to do with social norms than how our brains actually work. Okay? This is an interesting one because teachers even talk about it sometimes. But there's only one way to get a correct answer. Right? I hear it a lot. Just because I didn't do it the teacher's way, I got it wrong. Well, actually, and this is part of what makes, say, calculus on one hand so kind of beautiful and on the other hand so complicated, is that there are often many ways to go about doing the problem. And we'll see that in some of our lessons this semester, that there's some material, okay, where you can go different ways, you can do things different ways and still get to the right result, as long as every step you take along the way is a correct one, and that's okay. It's sort of the difference of, if I want to go from this point to this point, what's better, going around this way or going straight there? Well, this curvy path is certainly longer, but I didn't ask the shortest, I asked which is best. Is the shortest route the best? Perhaps, but this long way might have a better view, right? Math is often the same way. A lot of times the way I would go is possibly the most efficient, but that's only because I have so much practice, whereas the way someone else chooses may not be the way I would have done it, right? It might be sort of a curve, but everything they did was right, so it is still correct. Okay? This is a big one as well. You have to have a math brain to be good at math. So I know a lot of people believe this one, and it's actually not true. Yes, there are some people who are just naturally gifted in the subject, right? Who don't have to study a lot, and it just comes naturally to them. But that's not most people. Okay? Most people just have to work hard. I consider math to be a lot like learning a sport or learning an instrument. I grew up with some friends who were very naturally talented at playing guitar, but they still practiced all the time. Okay? It's sort of like even the people who are naturally gifted at playing basketball, for example, they still practice a lot. Maybe they don't have to practice as much as the next guy or gal, but they still have to practice a lot. So math is more, it's more closely related to, say, learning an instrument or training for a marathon than it is, say, a class like history, where it's all about memorizing facts and analyzing, the repercussions and all that. This is more of learning a skill, and some people have to work a little harder, right? There's a part of your brain that's actually good at doing math, and it just takes exercise. It's just like you couldn't get up and run a marathon tomorrow if you'd never run before, right? Unless you're just extremely talented, but that's very rare. Most of us, I think, unless we have some serious health issues, could probably make it through a marathon if we were jogging and we trained for it, right? It's pretty incredible what the body can accomplish if you train it, and that's what math is more about. It's actually training, not just having this inherent knowledge, okay? And this does bring me to a story about myself that I wanted to share. I usually share this with most of my classes. In high school, when I was in high school, freshman year, we had to take a standardized test. Now, this was back in the day before they gave you standardized tests every single year, and they tested the hell out of you, like they do now. There was basically one standardized test. It had like an English section, a math section, science, history, probably, some stuff like that. And you basically just had to pass all the sections. And if you didn't pass all the sections, the next year you would retake the sections you didn't pass, and you would keep doing that until you passed them all, right? You had to pass them all to graduate. All right. My freshman year of high school, I passed all of the sections except for the math section. And you're hearing that right. I passed them all except math, and now I'm speaking to you, via the internet with a PhD in math that I got years later. This idea that someone is just inherently born with math ability isn't true, and now I'm not saying everyone's going to go on to, I'm not saying everyone can go on to become a math PhD, have their doctorate in the subject, but what I am saying is with the work and effort and studying and really putting in the hours, putting in the training, that everybody can pass at least this class, right, if you really put your mind to it. Okay. Another myth, this last one, is in math, what's important is getting the right answer. Yes, in this class, this is actually true because of all the online stuff. I can't really grade your work that well, so it is about the right answer. But in general, I would say math is often more about the journey. It's how you get there. Knowing how you got to the right answer is actually what's important. Because yes, in this online system, you have to put that one correct answer, or else, it won't be counted right. But just keep in mind that knowing how you got there isn't just as important. I would say it's actually more important. So the strange thing about this is, let's say you buy into this, you have to have a math brain to do well in math. Well, that is a wonderful way to rationalize you doing poorly in math by not, say, attempting it, not trying it. Because if you go into a class just thinking, I'm not a math person, so I'm not going to do well, then you definitely won't. Right? It would be impossible. If you go into the class thinking instead that, okay, math maybe isn't my strongest subject, but I'm going to work really hard. And in fact, because it's not my strongest subject, I'm going to work that much harder. I am going to kick that class's ass. If you go into a class with that mentality, right, you are going to have a much better time with things. You don't rationalize away any of your fears and anxieties with these beliefs. You have a much better chance of actually putting in the amount of work that you need to. Okay, well, what can we do other than just stop believing these things? And you know, there are a few options. Again, every person is different. If you would like to talk to me about this, of course, I'm always available, or open to speaking with you about it. You know, it's something I've spoken with many students about and helped them through. And again, every person's different. I can't just give you a list and say do these things, it will work. But I can give you some ideas. Okay? And the first one is for you to do math every day. And this might be one of the tougher things, because if you have math anxiety or you don't like math, you want to put it off until the last minute. I get that. I get that every year when I have to do my taxes because I hate doing it, and I am always so tempted to just push it off and push it off, but it's always better to get things done, you know, before that deadline's looming, and it just makes everything worse. Okay, so much like learning a foreign language, or much like practicing an instrument, learning an instrument, much like training for a marathon, the only way you really get there is if you're doing things every day, even weekends, right? Do a little bit each day. And this does come into how the homework is set up, because you'll probably notice the homework typically has a lot of problems to do. The idea is a week after the lecture video, the homework will be due, and it's also typically left open a little while longer for those of you. I know some of you work full time and all that. But the idea is, if you are able to split that up across multiple days, not only is that going to help you learn, okay, you'll learn it more, but it's also going to help mitigate the anxiety, because you don't have to feel like you have to get everything minutes before it's due. In fact, if there's a homework that has, say, 20 problems, and you worked on it a little bit each day, and then the day it's due, you've whittled that down to about 8, or you whittled it down to about 5, that's going to make that night so much better for you on top of that. Okay, so that's one suggestion. Okay, the next one is scheduling, and this is one I'm actually kind of not great at. But this is actually, and it kind of intertwines with this one, doing math every day. Actually set aside a time where you are doing your math every day, and you're studying, and you have it as just part of your routine. You make it part of that, of your schedule. Okay? And it can be very helpful. Once you put it on the books, I find if I make that an official time and I get to it, I actually have a better chance of actually doing it. Okay, this one is might sound a little new wavy. I don't know, new agey. I mean, new agey. And that's identify and eliminate negative self-talk. Okay, and it's basically become aware of your internal dialogue and start replacing negative self-talk with more affirming, and rational self-talk. And this is going to feel funny at first, but will start feeling more natural as you go along. So what I mean is, your internal dialogue, if you have math anxiety, it is going to probably be very negative about your abilities. Things like, I'll never be able to do this. I'll never understand it. Alright? Start replacing those things with, I don't understand it now, but I'm going to make sure I do. Okay? Turn these things into positive and rational things. Things about how you're going to overcome these issues. And this does sound a little weird, right? But you might be surprised at how much it makes a difference, how your attitude can shape your performance in a course. I never really believed it myself until I saw it in action. Okay, this one, sorry, write it very well, but it's prepare adequately, and that's basically use everything that's available to you. Okay? Don't just go in trying to do the least amount you can. Go in trying to take advantage of every resource that you have. Watch all the lesson videos I put up, right? Ask questions about them. Work on the problems. The nice thing about MyLabs Plus is not only does it tell you if you got it wrong immediately, it also shows you examples of problems a lot like it and guides you step by step through it. Right? So if you're having problems with, any of the assignments, often there's a help me solve option or a view an example option that kind of takes you step by step through a lot of the problems, not every one, but a lot of them. And it's things like that. There are a lot of opportunities available to you in this course and many others, and it's more actually utilizing them when they're there. Last one might seem a little obvious, but you'd be surprised as well, is to seek help. Find someone to study with, find someone to talk to me, go to a tutoring lab, find someone who you work well with, okay, and even somebody you might want to talk to about what you think about math anxiety and how it affects you. And there, of course, are many other things that prepare adequately. One important but one important column of that issue is to not say cram beforehand. Right? And some of these kind of overlap with one another, but like if you were running a marathon, you would train every day. You would not, instead, the night before the marathon, just run all night, right? What you do instead is you would train every day, and then the night before the marathon, you probably wouldn't be running. In fact, you'd probably be taking it easy. Exams, quizzes, assignments, everything like that in any math class you take is going to follow the same process. Don't cram, don't try to do it all there at once at the very end. Space it out. That's the way our brains actually learn things, is breaks. Periodically, every day, and by the time you get to the test or the quiz, you got it. You don't have to cram. Alright? So, these are a couple of things that you can utilize to help manage this. Of course, there are many other things out there that could probably help you. Like I said, every student's different, so like always, if you have questions on any of this stuff, drop me a line. I'm always happy to help students get through things like this and the class itself. So with that, alright, sorry, camera weirdness, don't know what happened there, and that's going to be something you'll probably see a lot of as we go along. My camera's a little janky and I'm doing the best I can, but anyway, with that, let me just say I hope we have a great semester. I look forward to working with all of you, and don't hesitate to drop me a line if you need anything, and I will catch you all on the next one. Cheers!